So I got a new type of video for you today. We're going to be interviewing someone who's going after their dreams, is only 23 years old, and has been through so much, proving that when you're going after your dreams, it's not always pretty. So, again, this gentleman's 23 years old. He's trained with WWE champion Cody Rhodes. He's wrestled in 22 states and has even lived and slept in the back of his truck when it was 110 degrees. With that being said, please welcome Tommy Mars.
Going wild, man. What's going on?
Oh, man. Welcome to the show. So, Tommy, you're 23 years old. You're a pro wrestler. And tell me more about that. How did you get started in pro wrestling? Like, what made you want to be a pro wrestler?
I started training at the Nightmare Factory 2022 around July. I actually met Cody at AEW before he left, and he was front row, and I was like, hey man, what's going on? Like, I was interested in being a pro wrestler, interested in seeing what it was about. I had no money to my name, had no like notoriety, no nothing. I didn't have any followers on Instagram, any followers on YouTube. Like, I was just ready to go and keep on going. Okay. And he was like, hey man, like, you can become something if you try. So I was like, okay, let's see. And 6 months later, I saved up $4,500. Moved into the back of my truck, had 2 couch cushions in the back of that thing. Wow. And said, I'm going to rebuild this. And I lived in my truck for the first year, and that's how I became a wrestler.
Wow, okay. Was that in Atlanta, Georgia you did that?
Yeah, it was Norcross, Georgia. It was right by the Chip Smith before it went down. It was a former NFL workout area. Okay, so like when you were living in this truck, that's some dedication right there. So like, are you talking like the bed of a pickup truck? Like, what are we talking here? I'm talking a 2007 Dodge Ram. I threw 2 couch cushions that my buddy gave me, a cooler, and it was 110 degrees during the summer, man. It was hot. It sucked, man.
110 degrees. Yeah, we were training 4 days a week, no AC in the building. Like, we were just going, like, full on dogs, bro. Dude, it was 90 degrees at nighttime after I get done through this, like, vigorous training. And, like, a wrestling ring is wood, metal, and then a little bit of padding. Like, yeah. And then you're falling, and then you're getting your body used to it. And the ropes, like, I don't know if you knew this, but they're actually, like, metal cables underneath it. Yeah. So you're hitting these metal cables, and it's like all this is just impacting your body. And, like, I needed that recovery. I was taking my BCAAs, and it wasn't doing anything for me. So I was like, I'm going to go to the back of my truck, and I'm going to see if I can sleep. Man, there was some nights I couldn't sleep at all. Like, I had to go inside of Planet Fitness, use the can, take an hour nap on there. Wow. Okay. That's some pure dedication. So, like, to make anything happen, you guys see what he's going through, sleeping in the bed of his truck. When it comes to pro wrestling, Tommy, like, what was your first step to walking into the world of pro wrestling? Like, what was your first move? So, originally, I talked to Cody Rhodes after he won the TNT title on AEW for the first time.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw!
Or the last time.
How'd that come about? Like, how'd you just backstage or something? Like, what? So my buddy bought me tickets front row to go watch the show in Daly's place. Cool story. Oh. I actually got to wrestle there last year. So it was like a full circle moment for me. But I talked to him. I was like, hey, man, I'm interested in joining the Nightmare Factory. And he said, yeah, man, sign up. I'll see you there. And I said, okay, you can't tell Cody Rhodes no. So 6 months later, I had $5,000 to my name. $4,500 of it went to wrestling school. And the rest of it went to gas to get there. Wow. All right, that's dedication. And, I'm hoping, what we talk about today, Tommy, will help inspire other people. And I could see, just from a previous conversation we had, that you're really going for it. So, going through this journey, you mentioned you traveled and wrestled to 22 states? Yes, sir. How did you get to that point, and how did you know, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this? Like,
at what point did you say, I'm going to go to 22 states and start wrestling?
So it's one of those things to where you just send out everything you can. And I sent out thousands of emails, man, like thousands of text messages, Instagram DMs. Whenever I saw there was an open spot available, I was the first person to send them all my stuff, all my resumes, matches, footage, even if it was bad matches, bad footage. Because originally I was a boxer whenever I first started wrestling.
Oh, wow, okay.
And now I'm a rock star. But
Nice.
It's just because I was interested in boxing at the time, and I wanted to kind of morph that. I was Tom Marciano, became Tommy Mars, which I lost a couple of bookings because of that. Because people were like, "Oh, why are you changing your name? Why are you doing all that?" But it was for the greater good, man. Because at the end of the day, I was like, I'm gonna hit the ground running as hard as I can, and if anybody tells me no, I'm gonna prove why they should have said yes.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of people, they'll get paralyzed by like analysis paralysis, and they're like, where do I start? What do I do? So what, you just like followed people on social media and or just was looking online and reaching out to everywhere? Like, how did you know who to reach out to?
Dude, if it was within driving distance, I was like DMing them. I was like, if it was 30 hours, because one time me and my tag partner Nikki 8, who, by the way, whenever I first started, he was driving 2 hours every single day to training, 2 hours back. And I was like, this dude has the hustle, has dedication. I was like, this is somebody I can get behind. So like we split gas money a lot of the times. But one time we went 30 hours all the way to Massachusetts for a tryout. We weren't even on the show.
Wow.
30 hours one way because it was from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was in between two of his
How
work.
many, are you saying 3 or 30?
30.
30?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like we slept in the car, and we were just like, you know what, we're gonna do it. It was in between two of his work shifts, because I think he had work on Wednesday. He got off. I drove us like 14, 15 hours. We slept a little bit, and then we just continue on the way. This way we can make the tryout by 6 p.m. the next day.
Wow. That's pure dedication. And so you mentioned splitting the price of gas and going 30 hours to do that audition. So like when it comes to paying for all of this, like, are you working odd jobs? Like, how are you doing this?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've probably had over 20 jobs because, like, it's one of those things to where if you don't have the money, you do have the money. You just don't want to sacrifice other bits of your life.
It's like an excuse.
Yeah. So a lot of people make excuses, and a lot of people look at it like, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, I can't do that, because they're not willing to make sacrifices. They're not willing to make what is necessary. Like, I eat 2 pounds of meat every day. If I have to eat 1 pound of meat every day for 2 months or 3 months, like, I'll do it, because it's like one of those things to where it's like my body will suffer and my physique will suffer a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like I got to get to that show. I got to get to, it's one of those things to where you look at it at a different perspective and how can I make ends meet.
It's almost like you want it as bad as you want to breathe. I could tell you want it just speaking to you.
Need it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I have to make it. I know this is all based off of luck, and it's one of those things to where wrestling doesn't owe you anything, but man, I'm going to make it owe me.
Yeah, I love that attitude. I mean, you got to believe in yourself. And, we were talking about that before. Like, what, if you don't believe in yourself, you're pretty much failing before you even started. So, like...
Exactly, because if you don't believe in yourself, who does? It's one of those things to where you look at it like, if I really want to get there, how can I get there? So it's one of those things to where you're like, man, how can I become who I see myself inside of my dreams? Who do I see myself whenever I close my eyes? Where do I see myself in 10 years?
Yeah. And, when you're going throughout this journey, traveling to 22 states, like, that's a lot. And starting out, you may not have everything figured out, but do you ever have some doubts? Like, do you ever think, what if this doesn't work out? Do you have fears? And if so, like, how do you deal with that?
So, yeah, I mean, like, I'm just a normal person. Like, everybody has fears. Everybody has those thoughts. I just try to stay as busy as possible. This way, like, those thoughts are less and less. And then it's one of those things whenever I go to the gym, like, all my fears, all my worries tend to go away. Because, like, if I'm pushing through this workout, going extremely hard, superset and everything, and then I go hop in the sauna for 30, 45 minutes, Dude, nothing else matters. It's like
endorphins.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, no, I can see that. And it's like, taking things one step at a time. I feel like so many people, they focus on all the steps leading up to this grand vision, and then, like we were mentioning, they get overwhelmed. So it seems like you're focusing on one step at a time, and you're not like overwhelming yourself with all these different things. So you're like focusing on one show at a time kind of thing, right?
Well, my main focus right now is to get a contract.
Okay.
So I'm kind of just solely focused on that. And it's like, okay, what can I do to improve my in-ring ability? What can I do to improve my physique? How can I be ready if they call me?
Okay.
That's kind of my entire thought process right now.
Cool. And so from what I'm learning here with you, Tommy, so it's not just like a physical thing, this sport. You're also researching and watching film on wrestling. So you're doing a lot, not just the traveling part and making the dream a reality in that aspect, but physically and mentally on all fields, it sounds like.
No, 100%. I'm my own agent. I'm my own social media person. I'm my own pro wrestler. Like, I'm everything, man. Like, it's all me, like, that's driving this. I'm the person that's reaching out to people. I'm the one that's talking to the promoters. Like, I'm the one that talks to my tag partner. This way we can get our match going.
Yeah.
I'm the one who talks to the opponents, go to training, pay for training, pay to go to the shows. And, like, I make money here and there, like, at shows, like, selling merchandise and stuff, but it's never enough, you know? It's always like, okay, do I have enough to make gas money back? Or, oh, I got to talk to X amount of fans. This way I can try to get gas money back and just connect to people and just see, like, if I get, like, 5 followers out of a show, I'd rather that than make my gas money back, you know?
Yeah, I can tell, like, you're really putting in the work, which is awesome. And so, like, you've been putting in the work, and you've actually been seeing progress. So, like, you've been on some shows, you had a little bit of experience with WWE. So tell me more about what you've accomplished this far with it.
So I've been featured on Ring of Honor, which is a part of AEW, which is the number 2 promotion in the world at the moment.
Wow.
They're fairly new. Like, they're on HBO Max now. They're on TBS, TNT, and then Honor Club. I got to wrestle the Premier Athletes, and I got to wrestle in Daly's place, like I told you earlier.
Yeah.
And then I wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling, part of their Academy Showcase, because I bet on myself, went out there for 3 months, and I was actually the semi-main event of that show. I was really proud of that because it was an entirely different style. Because Japanese wrestling and American wrestling, they're very, very different. So it was really cool that they were like, hey, Tommy. And I went over, too, as the babyface. I was like, dude, this is amazing. I'm living my dream right now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, too, like the audience. So, thinking about the audience and who your audience is. So it's like you got the Japan style and then the American style. So how do those crowds differ? Is it like the Americans are like, kick his ass, or like, and it's like the Japanese, it's more reserved? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, the Japanese are definitely more reserved.
Yeah.
They're more focused on the actual wrestling bits of it, and they're focused on, like, oh, they want to golf clap with you, and they want to watch you progress throughout your career. So in New Japan, you start out as a young lion, and they watch you progress. You start out in black trunks, black boots, and then you start progressing up the ranks until you finally get to main event of Wrestle Kingdom, is the Hopes, which is their biggest show. It's in Tokyo Dome in front of 40,000 people. Versus, like, WWE, AEW, like American wrestling, it's like rock and roll, and everybody's getting into it, everyone's getting loud, and it's all about getting the crowd chanting, everybody looking at you like, oh yeah, let's rock and roll, baby. That type of,
I love it. And it's like you feed off that too, really. Like when you go in there and you feel the crowd's energy, I'm assuming that gives you some energy to keep going with everything you're doing, right?
Dude, it's amazing. And speaking back on the New Japan one, it was very different because the crowd was silent. And I'm used to, like, that's everyone going crazy. But I got them into it at the end, and they really, like, they were just focusing. I could feel all these people just watching me. It was very unique. Because it was like, there was only 200 people there, but those 200 people were just focused in on my wrestling.
Yeah,
that was
that's
amazing.
Cool.
And, like, they were, like, more focused on my transitions rather than me giving a hip toss and then,
Yeah.
It was neat.
Okay. And so you're going through like tying this together. So becoming a pro wrestler, you're trying to get signed, you know, bringing it all together. I'm sure you didn't know like all of these steps like we were talking about, but like you mentioned you had coaches. Are they like helping you and guiding you? Like how have you known to like do everything that you've done thus far to get where you're at?
They give advice, and they give really good advice. I do say I have some of the best coaches in the entire world.
So you surround yourself with the right people.
You have to. Like, it's like anything. It's a business. Like, but this business is very carny, so it's very hard. And by carny, I mean, like, it came from the carnival. People in it are kind of sketchy. So you need to know, like, who you're around and what they're about.
Yeah.
And also understand that, like, they need to have the right intentions for you.
Yeah.
Going forward. That's why like I've surrounded myself with WWE Hall of Famer Billy Gunn as a coach. I've had QT Marshall, who's the AEW or former vice president, maybe vice president now. I forgot what his current role is. AEW. QT Marshall, great coach. Honestly, helped me more than anybody in wrestling. Kushida in New Japan, Fred Rosser, Luke Sampson, who has helped us a lot, and just people like that have just engulf me with all this information. And it's kind of like I gotta process it, and I gotta kind of make everything work for me, you know?
Yeah. No, I love what you're doing. I can see your sacrificing. You've really have pushed yourself. Like, what got you through those moments? Was it like the vision? Like, were you just thinking like, I'm gonna be this person and I'm gonna do what I need to? And did you hold that vision in mind? And is that how you got through it?
Honestly, it was everybody that told me I couldn't do it. And it was everybody that told me no. Because without them, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in today. Because all those no's led to a yes. Wow. And that's the way that I continue to look at it. And all the people that dislike me or whatever, like, they can continue disliking me because I'm rooting for them. That's the way I see it.
I like that. You know, just to touch on that too, is just like, how do you deal with all the external noise and trying to accomplish what you're doing? Like, maybe some people don't get what you're doing. Maybe they think it's maybe weird, or they just don't understand it. How do you deal with comparison and the noise? What do you do to shut people out, like, and keep going?
You just kind of embrace it, and then you just look at them and you're like, okay, you don't understand what I'm doing. That's okay. So you try to relate it with them in ways that relate to them, even if you don't fully understand like what they're doing or their pursuit. There's always some sort of like middle ground that you can meet with people, which is really cool. And that's something that I've learned, like, especially working at gyms and stuff and just talking to all different types of people, is like, I can relate to the 80-year-old man and I can relate to the 18-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really cool because you're like, otherwise we wouldn't have any connection, but we're sitting here talking, you know? Like, we're both hungry, we're both starving. We both like want to be entrepreneurs, and self-investors. Yeah,
I love that. And so, what's next for you, Tommy? You're trying to get signed. Like, what's the next steps in this journey?
So the next steps are just continue to work on my physique and to continue to do everything I can to the best of my ability and control what I can control. But I've been working a lot of turnbuckle championship wrestling as of late, and I feel like I'm really starting to get my groove and my footing there. It's Dusty Rhodes' old promotion.
Yep.
So I thought it was really cool that like we're able to carry on that legacy. There's kind of like a chip on my shoulder to continue that legacy for Dusty Rhodes.
Okay, cool. And it's like you were mentioning, just controlling what you can with what you got in this moment in time. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. So guys, Tommy Mars, hopefully you guys are inspired by his journey. Tommy, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate you coming here. It was great chatting. So again, thank you guys for watching today. And if you liked the video, make sure you smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe for more content like this. It was definitely a different type of video today, but hopefully you enjoyed. And I'll see all you guys in the next one.
Rock and roll, baby.